Hello, my name is LeWanda Epes, and I'm going to do a persuasive speech on poverty. You know, as everybody knows, poverty is the most worst thing that is happening here in America today and all over the continents of the world. Today I have one of my audience members, which she's also doing an online in Liberty University, and she's studying to be accounting. And I have one that's working in education with the kids, and I also have another audience member who's happened to be what they call a desperate housewife. But she's a good desperate housewife, so she's here for me today. She's here to support me. The problem of poverty leads to terrible things like sickness, starvation, and even death. And my solution for poverty, of course, in order to solve the problem, not only, we solve it through ways as far as, giving money or giving food, also ways where you can pray to God and ask you to help with people that, that are in poverty and do need help as far as food and getting around, getting ways into as to help them get food. Some years back, I happened to be in Petersburg, Virginia, and there was a homeless person came up to me. I had just left the hairdresser shop on my way to another place out there. So he said, "Excuse me, miss, do you have any loose change you can spare me so I can go and get something to eat?" And this is the first time I ever witnessed something like that happen to me, but I felt real sorry for that person, because at that point, it looked like to me that he should be better than this and everything and all, and then too, he looked like he hadn't eaten like in a day or two. So my heart kind of pulled out to him, and I just decided to go ahead and give him as much as the change that I had, being that, I'm at a place in my life where I'm fortunate enough where I can eat every day, where this person is not going to be able to eat every day. And so it's very important that we do help that person that's in poverty, because that could be one of us. We could have a home today, and we could be out in the street tomorrow. And through some of the world nation around the world, around the country, there are even worse of poverty than here in America, because here in America, we are the richest country in America, and we can get help as far as going through social services or Social Security. And it does help us to a certain point, but sometimes also it's still not nearly enough. So that's why we do have food banks where they can help us along until we either get our next check or we get to the next level of how to keep food into our homes. According to globalissues.org, there are more than 3 billion people who makes $2.50 an hour or less per day. And that's in some countries. A lot of that has to do with, lack of natural resources. Their government, maybe the government is not getting what they're supposed to as far as to be able to help the people. And a lot of that is lack of jobs out here. And also, it's just basically just not nearly enough, money to just basically put food on the table. So according to globalissues.org, it states that. Also here in America, according to the New York Times, there are over 46 billion Americans living in poverty in 2012. That's a lot of people starving. I mean, like I said, we do get the help to a certain degree, but how many people make it through the week without, missing a meal? How many through the month? How many through 6 months? How many during the year? That's a lot of people. And people out here are starving, even though we are the richest country in America, but still, we're still starving. I mean, I know the Lord help us through, from one basis to another, and we do need God's help regardless throughout it all. But we still have people here in America, they are still starving, and they are starving more and more every day because of job losses, because of companies going out of business, and and then you find some people also have to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs or what have you, just to put food on the table. I feel as though our government here, they are doing an excellent job, but I also feel like they're not doing enough. They're not doing enough to help us. Because even though you can work your 2 jobs, because you still have bills to pay, you still have kids to take care of, because they have to go to school. And then also you have, you have so much expenses where when it comes down to the very last thing that we very need, and that is food, that we lack. And that is very, sad, that we have to struggle to get enough food on a daily basis just so we can make it out through the month or 6 months or throughout the year. And according to, the speech community textbook, so far we established cause the effect of poverty. Thanks to that, the government, I guess it looks like it's trying, but right now, how I feel about it, I don't feel like they're trying quite hard enough. Maybe if they could pay us the substantial big amount of pay wages, maybe, maybe that could be a start, hopefully. And hopefully, maybe that, I don't know, for some other resources we need to do, like maybe perhaps we need to push our government just a little bit more, just so that, they listen to the people, but they don't know until they be in their individual shoes to see how much we're really struggling. Not just far as his food, but everything else, gas in our car or, what have you, clothes on our back. But the main thing, probably goes deeper, much deeper than that, because we have, again, we are struggling. And as of today, 2014, here in September, let's face it, y'all, anytime bacon about what, $4, $5, or $6 a pack, something wrong with that picture here. And you make it much harder for the person to buy that pack of bacon. Why? Because they can't afford it. I remember a time bacon used to be cheap to get. I remember a time chicken used to be cheap. Chicken is where the steak price is at now. No, excuse me. Chicken is where the hamburger price is at now. And hamburger, believe it or not, is the price of a steak. And when it gets to that point where the only thing you can afford maybe is, tuna fish or bologna, something is definitely wrong with this economy. And, we all asking for a change, but I'm hoping and praying that change can come, for all of us. So we can all family, live, nicer, enrich our lives a little bit. So maybe, just maybe, we can feel better knowing that when you go to bed at night, not only you just ate, but that next person has ate as well. Well, according to the Bible, in Psalms 113, verses 7 verse, he raises the poor from the dust and lift the needy from the ash heap. According to that scripture, It's basically saying, you know, even though that you're poor, but if you try to find more ways than one to help yourself, in other words, you make that first step, God can help you make that second step. And the more steps you make, God's going to continue, you know, to help you as much as he can when he can. So, you know, according to that scripture also, that also helps me uplift people that are in poverty. You know, let them know basically, you know, whatever you do, don't give up, don't give in, you know, always focus on something that's going to bring you through that morning, through that afternoon, through that evening, through that night. And I always, you know, when I see somebody hungry, you know, again, like I said, back to the subject again, I try every way that I can to help them. We are all God-fearing people. And I know at some point that people, maybe members of your family, I don't know, maybe out here in the street that you have to help somebody from time to time when they need food, when they're in their time of need, and which is a good thing. Because, you know, you never know what they're struggling with. You don't know what they was dealing with. Somebody they could have bought some food for that whole week. Somebody could have broken into their house and stole their food. You know, which reached the part that I was just talking about earlier, how it leads to starvation, also leads to certain crimes too. In fact, it does lead to certain crimes because you got people out here that starving so much, if they steal at all, they're stealing food. And that's a shame that when it gets to the point where you have no money and no other way to get food, then you got to result in a crime of stealing, which is a serious thing. You'd be surprised people get locked up just for a piece of fried chicken or sausage or whatever they trying to steal just to feed themselves. And the worst part about that probably, then it goes from that going into garbage cans, eating out of garbage cans. And that's the worst kind of poverty. And I pray and hope nobody will have to face if we can all help it, if we can all just pitch in and just help. In the conclusion, and I'm hoping that raise awareness to poverty today, you know, can, you know, make you stop and think. You know, because I always complain sometimes I don't have enough food in my house, you know. But then, you know, I sit back and I say, you know what? I thank God I got some food in my house because I could be like any of these people, but I'm not. So I'm fortunate that the things that I do have, and I'm fortunate what I got in my house that I can eat. And sometimes a lot of people don't realize you can't afford to be choosy, you know, into what you want to eat. I'm guilty of that because certain things that I don't like to eat, like I don't like turkey hot dogs, so I'm sorry, but you know, I know that's very petty and very selfish of me of saying that, but I shouldn't be, you know. I can't afford to be choosy, so I should eat whatever is sitting in front of me. And I'm hoping that as we all God-fearing people, that we can be able to help one another and keep on praying, continue to help these people that do need to eat and do need help. And as well as in other countries, I've been praying each and every day, like Haiti, Africa, you know, all the other countries that do really got it much worse than what we got. I hope and pray that government in that country can do something, at least get some resources there, at least help these people, because these people need help. The U.S. always helping them out, which is a good thing, because, you know, because we are a country that do give. And then even though we do give, sometimes that's not even enough over there. And maybe perhaps their government can uplift in spirit and resources where they need to really, you know, sit there and, you know, they need to work with their people over there. Try to get them jobs. Try to do something, you know, because watching somebody die of starvation is the worst kind of thing you can watch. And in closing, I'm praying and hope that we all can get together to be able to do that. I thank y'all very much for coming out here today.